Hi everyone, my name is Julie van Loof and I'm an ISV Partner Development Manager here at Microsoft. One of the things I focus on in my job is the Microsoft Commercial Marketplace. And that is why I'm very happy to announce I'm here today with Jan Kees Buenen, the CEO of Synerscope. Because Synerscope is one of the first Dutch independent software vendors to have a transactable solution live on the Microsoft Commercial Marketplace. And it's amazing to see their work in action, because the partnership with Synerscope has been a great success over the past few months. And you can see this in all the journeys they drive across dark data. And Jan Kees Buenen is here today to tell you more about their solution Ixivault and how it works. So, now over to you, Jan Kees.
Hello, today I would like to take you into a new offering on the Azure Marketplace. We're going to talk about a transactable application which is deployed within the customer tenant. And obviously there is a benefit for the customer, and that is that he learns to know his dark data. So really, why do we talk about dark data? Because 70% of all the data in the world actually stays untouched. It stays in the dark, so to say. And with that, it presents a huge growth opportunity. And notably a huge growth opportunity for Azure and the Azure partners. So dark analytics, the analytics on dark data, is about to reach a 1.1 billion market size by 2026, which represents an impressive compound annual growth rate of some 24%. Dark data management, there is about 100 zettabytes of dark data waiting to be taken care of. Now, when you have to take care of, and when you're moving house, so also when you're moving data to the cloud, really all moving starts with sorting your stuff, know what you have. So people that move data from a warehouse to an Azure-based lakehouse will always have to first sort and label their data. Because getting to know your data is knowing much better what to do with your data. If we have a quick look at what this sort of presents, like well over half of the data in the world is dark data. And yes, we have all the traditional data sources and we have all the big data that is already in the area of illuminated data, which we can take into the cloud today. But essentially, we're running an enormous risk. We're running a risk that there's actually shelves of data drifting apart. And that's what Synerscope actually on Azure, what we want to prevent. We want to make Azure that safe home for all the data, including the dark data, and actually leverage Azure to bring out the information from the dark data as you're transferring it to the cloud. The value proposition that we really have is across all the departments and all the people that work in an enterprise or an organization. We want to enable everyone to know the content of the data. And by knowing better what the content is, they can take better informed decisions on such things as data storage, deletion, where to keep the data, how to use the data, what to push into AI, and much more. And an important part of this is, of course, the synergy that you can get across all your data. So we love to talk, and we love to bring augmented intelligence, improving the sense-making in companies by offering all that data, dark data, and access to dark data as a useful context for finding out new things, even new things about your existing data. It's important that people can actually see patterns in the data, because that will support people in knowing where they are and where they want to go to with all the data. Augmented data, for us, is really data needs labels. Without labels, computers can hardly work with the data that you have. And all this increased knowledge of your data will help you across all the multiple functions that later on you want to perform with that data. Now, there are multiple hot issues in the society today that are linked to dark data. If we look at the Netherlands, we would declare that the toeslagenaffaire for the Dutch tax authorities is actually a dark data issue. The reason they cannot decide what to pay all these individuals is because so much of the data isn't there to be analyzed or ready to be analyzed, and certainly not if you're looking at 20,000 files at the same time. There are obviously other files like this, and in other countries I'm sure that there are other instances where individuals, either from an enterprise or from a government, need to be treated on an individual basis, but still in a measured way compared to other people that are in similar, maybe not the same, but similar situations. So Ixivault gives you functional benefits, and those functional benefits are really in the area of being able to inspect data that has no metadata, where you purely have to go by content without actually having to first resort to go and talk to the people that created the data. Because very often it is really impossible after a few years to sometimes you cannot find those creators that may not even be part of your organization anymore. So it's all about that metadata and content scanning, which creates the data and which brings the data to a state where true collaboration on analysis of data can take place. Now, people are looking for names for technologies. We talk about AI, we talk about supervised, unsupervised learning. We think that Synerscope is part of this newer emerging category of weak supervised learning, whereby the computer does what the computer can do best, which is go through big chunks of data and present them in a meaningful way for that very flexible human sense making. So it's really to try and catch the best of both worlds. And all with that target to illuminate dark data. The important thing is apart from the functional aspect and the functional benefit that we bring, we do that in a way that is really beneficial from the point of view of control and governance over your data. It is really important, in our opinion, that data that you don't know and that you want to do discovery on doesn't leave the controls of your data center or doesn't leave the controls of your Azure tenant or the customer's Azure tenant. And that is a really important step forward that we can now actually deploy inside the customer tenant with ease of purchase, and no data lock-in. And if we look at this, we can offer safe discovery and a safe place for discovery on the data, where the CISOs of this world can really follow through on actually keeping supervision intact over all this data. So obviously we have the highest security, we work to the highest standards that Azure has, and we are fully in line with the latest developments there. So we're very happy to announce that not only can we deploy inside the tenant of the client, we can now do so with VNet enablement while maintaining full transactability. So in summary, the data remains inside the customer's choice of Azure storage. Whether you want to use object stores like Blob or ADLS, you are the master of your own data at all times. Just an example from a tier 2 global insurance customer. There is a huge effort going on in the world of the financial industry of actually keeping financial reporting, both for regulators, financial reporting for taxes, but also for information to the shareholders, to keep that intact. And the IFRS rules are actually pushing people to know much more in detail. Now, if you have to know much more detail about the data before you can actually do reporting on it, you're running into a double problem, because now the data silos are really going to set you back. So what Synerscope on Azure actually helps you do is synchronize the state of the different individual data silos so that you can do a full-fledged reporting while maintaining full accuracy, that there is actually not a discrepancy between the state of reported numbers in the different systems. And that is something that until now auditors mainly try to do with Excel. And that is really not the tool for mastering this complexity anymore. So we do this by changing the human-machine symbiosis to a new level that we've not seen before. these are levels that are actually akin to what is happening in the world of intelligence, where you need to bring that human experience and you need to bring that data and you need to combine it with the help of that computerized system into something where you can make sense while looking at the full context. And what we're here doing is we're no longer relying just on manual hours to sort through all this unstructured data. We're actually bringing that to the Azure platform. Now, the result of all this for this company was 100% perfect monthly tax reporting. And we can certainly, they will vouch to this, that was not the state that they were in while they were still trying to achieve this manually. They were okay. They are a tier 2 global insurance, so they know how to pass audits. But what that doesn't tell you is how much effort they had to put in. And that's really what this is all about, putting less effort in. So really, Synerscope is all about mobilizing your dark data. The cloud and regulatory forces play in certain industries much stronger than in other industries. And this is why we have chosen, together with Azure, with Microsoft and our Microsoft partners, to go after the financial, the government, and the industry and energy sectors. The finance sector, because they have this enormous need to know more from their data and from their dark data systems in the face of know your customer initiatives, anti-money laundering, customer due diligence, the many remediation projects that are going on where individuals need to be compensated, and also that IFRS reporting. Government has this archiving need. The digital archiving age is upon us, not just in the Netherlands, but across Europe and across North America. But unknown data actually impairs the execution of those policies. And again, also governments have to take care of individuals based on the data and on the files that they hold on these individuals in comparison to other individuals, as governments are striving to treat equal cases equally. And this is all coming forward in this day and age of data-driven industries. Industry and energy sector have a huge evolution of IoT and other sensor materials, so much so that every day new data sources open up. And while a sensor will produce, naively thinking, will produce structured data, the plethora of all these sensors coming together actually creates a spaghetti that in itself it gets many of the characteristics of unstructured before you actually know what it all means. So we are heavy believers in that illuminating dark data in an organization will help that organization produce valuable context for improving the structured data that sits in master data and metadata alike. So today, we really want to place a call to action for you, for the partners, for the customers, and to take action on dark data now. Because just try that Ixivault from the marketplace. It deploys very easily. Within the hour, it will actually run, so the technical barriers to actually trying it out are minimal, and its pay-per-use business model allows you to safely conduct experiments without breaking the bank or even coming close to breaking the bank. The dark data story needs to come out. There is information in dark data that has potential, that has high value, and that just is waiting there to be discovered and used. And the message to Microsoft and the partners of Microsoft is really help people pull all this dark data to the cloud now. Don't wait, because if you wait, then the ice shelves of data will actually break apart and you'll end up holding a big chunk of data that used to be in the data center, all the known or the better known data in the cloud, and then you're left holding that big chunk of other data in your data center, and the two shelves will drift apart, which means that if you have to delve into them for historic or trend analysis, you will have to put a lot of manual labor to bear to actually dig out from that dark data. So we're calling for experimentation now, experimentation fast, experimentation at low cost, and therefore experimentation at low risk for your customers and for your partners. And with that, I thank you for the attention, and we really look forward and we're ready to support you and your customers, and you have our contact details to actually talk to us. We are glad to help you in the industries that we have chosen as target industries.